I guess any personnel updates at all?
No, the only guy that's nursing a little something is Greg Ducre's kind of got a sprained foot, but I don't think it's serious. Should be able to play.
Is there any update on Ben Riva? You mentioned on Monday maybe he's going to see a specialist.
Yeah, we just wanted to make sure there was nothing more than the broken bone, and that's exactly what it is. So he's on a 4 to 6 week recovery time.
How has that part of the offensive line then kind of shook out as you anticipated on Monday, or?
Well, I think we've got a plan in place to where we can play guys and guys can be successful and endure some of the elements. Obviously, it's going to be hot in there Saturday, especially in the early portions of the game. So we might see a couple different looks as we get going.
How confident are you with the starting five right now heading into LSU? How confident are you? Where's your confidence?
Well, I think they'll play. I think they'll play well. I think we got a good plan to allow them to do the things that they do well.
Can you equate LSU's defensive line to anyone else that you deal with? They're just so big up there.
Well, again, I think that everyone keeps saying they're so big. They're big inside. They're fast on the outside. I think that's what makes them unique. Sometimes you see teams that are big. Sometimes you see D-lines that are fast, but they've got the nice combination of both of those, and that's what makes them so hard to deal with.
You anticipate seeing more Montgomery than they used in week 1?
98, 99, it's the thing that kind of separates them is the number. So whether it's 98 or 99, they're both good players, and I don't know. You have to ask Coach Miles that one.
Do they move them around a lot? Is identifying who's where a big issue at all, or
not as much? They line up. They do what they do. They do it well. They do a little bit more stuff when they get into their nickel fronts, but their base defense, we know where they're going to be.
What's Eric Rosen's going to be? What's Eric Rosen's role going to be? Is he going to be a little more advanced?
Well, I'd like to give him a few more carries and get him into the flow of the game some. We got to see how the game goes too. We always have a plan for different scenarios as the game goes on. But I'd like to get Eric a bit more involved. I'd like to get Desmond Petty a bit more involved.
How is Bishop looking this week?
I think he's had a good week. Bishop, he's such a serious kid that I think he's taken on this challenge head on. And we feel good about Bishop. I felt good about Bishop after spring ball, after training camp, and so I don't have concerns with him being our lead back. I just want to make sure we can spell him enough to where other guys can step in and do a nice job.
How do you feel about the guys that are behind Bishop right now?
Well, again, they've practiced well, and they all realize the opportunity, and that's what the game of football is about, and the season of football is about. Is when opportunities come, you want to take advantage of them and seize them, and whether that's individually or collectively. And we have some guys at that running back position that have an opportunity to earn more playing time, and we'll see who seizes it.
How do you balance being excited versus being overhyped at the start of the game?
Well, I think it's something that you talk to, and we have to talk about that. I don't want us to come out with a lack of energy. I don't think that'll ever be the case. I think we'll be fired up, ready to go. What I am cognizant of, I don't want us to at the end of the first quarter to be wiped out because we've been jumping around all pregame warm-ups long. So we'll try to do our best to keep our composure throughout pregame, and then when the ball gets kicked off, put our best foot forward.
When you've had a lot of games like this in your 4 years, and you've won some at SC and stuff like that. The games you've won and the games maybe you haven't played as well. Was there anything when you've played teams of this nature? I guess have you noticed any difference in that kind of thing?
I think one of the keys is the football. When you can create some turnovers on defense and get short fields and put points on the board, that's always helpful. And then the games where we weren't able to capitalize on those things, we maybe got some turnovers. And thinking back to a couple of games with Oregon, we were down in the red zone and didn't take advantage of those. Those are key factors. And then minimizing the big plays from the opponent. When you really make them drive the length of the field rather than creating big plays, I thought was a big factor in both of those games as well.
Have you seen
those types of games, how they go?
Have you seen anything different to the freshmen like Jadon and tell them what to expect from an atmosphere like LSU or a big game kind of thing?
Nothing so much individually. We speak as a group, and every day there's different things that we're talking about how we react in these types of environments and minimizing distractions and focusing on the task at hand. And that messaging won't change all of a sudden, today or tomorrow or Saturday. It's going to be pretty consistent because I think that's when you perform your best. We're not playing their crowd. We're not playing the Tiger. We're not playing the stadium. We're playing the 11 guys that line up across from us on that snap. and that's what we need to focus on.
Will you have a walkthrough there tomorrow at all? Or?
We're just going by the stadium. We're walking through it at a separate site.
On Monday, you said maybe the second tight end spot needs a little bit of work. How's that looking this week?
Well, I think the guys have so far risen to the challenge. They understand that we need to perform better than we did last week at that position. We're trying to put some guys, understanding them and putting them in a little different position to be successful. Maybe doing some things that they do well and moving some guys around. So, but definitely, I'd like to see that position perform better because that is a big part of our offense. And we're in our 2 tight end sets, and to do that, we have to execute.
You said on Monday maybe Shane Brostick would work his way into that. Is there any chance of that happening?
I think there's an outside chance of it. I think right now we'd rather not, but unforeseen circumstances are what you have to be prepared for, and so we're prepared to play Shane if we need to be. But in a perfect world, we wouldn't have to do that. Does that mean he won't play all year? We haven't made that decision yet. But for Saturday, we're hopeful that he doesn't have to. But if we get in a situation where he needs to, he'll play.